Bokkos, you guys must rise up, wield yourself with arms, and defend your goddamn selves. Almost in 24 months, nothing less than 1,800 Boko indigenes have been wiped out of this planet Earth by these Fulani marauding herders, and somehow the Nigerian army have been silent. In fact, the influencers in the north have never spoken against this constant invasions of the Middlebeltans villages. Don't forget that the DSS chief has given you an approval to defend yourself. Stop crying to the Nigerian army. Stop crying to the Nigerian police. Stop crying to the Nigerian military. They are not going to help you. The DSS chief has exposed that they are incapacitated. They do not have the competency. They do not have the logistics to secure every nook and cranny of the nation. Take your own defense as a matter of life and death. Otherwise, you guys will be wiped out. The generation, your lineage, everything will be taken over by these Fulani herders. We saw what happened in Iromi. And because of the incessant killings done by the Fulani herders, some hunters who we are still debating if they were bandits or not, because they found out a cash bag full of money, bag full of cash. They found guns in the truck, and that truck was disguised to be carrying cement. However, when they ransacked it, it was just sand. And they found some hunters, about 20 of them, in that truck, lying down, hiding. A suspicious event that occurred that led to a mob action of these guys. However, we saw how the northern influencers, how the likes of Atiku Abubakar, Isa Pantani, these are all northern elites who, how they spoke up seeking for justice, that their children, their sons have been unjustly killed. I mean, according to their own, understanding. But just as we speak, overnight, in the last 12 hours to 18 hours, Bokkos communities are under siege by these marauding Fulani herders again. In the near future, if the Bokkos, indigenes, if the Boko men in Plateau State decide to heed to the advice of the DSS chief, carry their own weapons and defend themselves against these terrorists, I hope we will not start hearing foul cry, all manner of commentaries, all manner of communiques seeking for justice for them. Because just as I speak, the Fulani herders are having their way. They are having their say. They are enjoying an unstoppable impunity over the Boko women, over the helpless Bokkos indigenes. I mean, we can see that the state of the nation, the state of the country has been tilted, has been aligned to favor some elements. Is that not what we have seen so far? Whereby some people believe they have the monopoly of violence because their own political elite support, defend them, and fight for them. This same reason is why some northern politicians are hell-bent fighting against state police. Some months ago, Tinubu was, trying to do what we call restructuring. And then they said they were going to push a bill for state police. But we saw how vividly, how aggressively, how clearly the northern senators, they call themselves Northern Senators Forum, how they went in cahoot, how they all gathered themselves together and voted against anything called state police, that state police will become a weapon used by the state governments to oppress their political oppositions. But what they are truly not saying is a state governor will not watch his own people being killed by some foreign element. And what they dread the most is for the northerners, for what the northern politicians dread the most right now is for them to see the influence of these bandits doused down. They use this terrorists to bargain for political positions. They use these bandits to destabilize political opponents in government. We saw what they did against Jonathan. You know, Jonathan, when he was in power, Nigeria was progressing in a stable manner. Nigeria was projected that by 2027, we would have become a $1 trillion economy. Because as at 2015, we were just a little bit above $500 billion economy. Nigeria was so prosperous. The Nigerian people were living, they were productive. As at 2011, 2012, there was nothing as bandits here and there. And all of a sudden, we just saw an attack happen in Borno, where what's it called? Chibok girls, 300 girls, broad daylight, vanished from a school compound. But somehow the DSS was supposed to be the top secret security apparatus in the country, or should I say the SSS, whatever they are called, didn't have an intel to track those guys. And the kidnappers were communicating with the families of those girls seeking for ransom. It is that industry that has today become the monster that has metamorphosed into all manners of, bandit organizations, terrorist organizations. Now we have Lakarawas, we have ISWAPs, you name it. In fact, we now have some people who call themselves Janims. Some of them call themselves jihadists. Some of them call themselves that they want to have what we call ethnic cleansing, like we can see in the Middlebelt, where they are cleaning people out, renaming villages, chasing them away from their farmlands and their ancestral homes. The Bokkos must understand that going to the social media, seeking for the government help, crying to the Nigerians, if they fail to take their own defense, their own destiny into their hands, I'm afraid these Fulani elders who seem to be unmatched to the Nigerian army, because we see most of their videos, they have sophisticated weapons. There was a video leak just yesterday by one social media handle, Zagazola, as you can see on my screen, that the bandits now have drones, surveillance drones. Before they attack, they will send drones, autonomous. They will send these drones into those villages to see if there are any security agencies around. When they are clear to attack, they only go in there. They spend about 1 hour. Imagine a country called Nigeria, with Nigerian army, with Nigerian air force, with Nigerian navy, with Nigerian marine, name it, customs, police, and bandits will invade a village of about 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 human beings with no police posts, no accessible roads. Then the bandits can attack for as long as they want. Sometimes they attack for as long as 2 hours. Boko has now become a fertile ground for these bandits to always go in and practice their skills. Because what I think they do right now is, whenever they learn new or they acquire new toys, new weaponries, they just find people who they want to practice it on, and then they just march into Bokkos. By now, if we're in a serious country, Bokkos should have been militarized. I mean, we should have a military camp base there, or temporary or a makeshift military base, wherein the people in Bokkos should see, for every 500 meters, they see a police or a military personnel, and they should have an emergency response team that is just nearby. But what we see is the Nigerian government, the Nigerian security apparatus has abandoned these people, and I wonder why these people are not even ready to take up their own defense into their own hands. The DSS chief has given you the approval. Take your destiny into your palms. These were the preachings of Nnamdi Kanu. These were the preaching of Nnamdi Kanu when these Fulanis invaded the Eastern Corridor Farm forest. He came out. He called the governors. He called the president, who was Buhari. But when he saw their body language, he knew there was something behind this. He knew the president, the government of the day, allows this to fester. Just as Sani Abacha said, in any country where insecurity lasts for more than 72 hours to 1 week, just be rest assured that there's someone in government who is benefiting from the insecurity of the day. And today we can see that the DSS came out to confess with his own mouth that make una hear, our power no reach. Carry your own gun, cutlass, whatever you can find. You know your territory better. My advice to the Boko men and women of gallantry: you know your territory better. You know where they come in and where they exit. Set up an ambush for these elements. After all, they are terrorists. They are not there for peacemaking. They are there to take your life. And you as a human being must understand that the first instinct of every human is what? The instinct of survival. In this instance, it is apparent that the government has failed. Yes, in all ramifications. Otherwise, the DSS wouldn't have said what he said. But he has said it, and now you have to what? Swing into action. Defend your land. If you cannot defend yourself, please evacuate those areas, because we have had enough. Too many a time that the Bokkos women and indigenes will come out and cry that they have been attacked. Take action or leave that territory. Those are the two things that you have, because the government doesn't seem to see that you are in existence, or perhaps the government doesn't think your life matters. Let us watch the videos of those women who have been annihilated, and also let us listen to what the DSS chief has to say.
They were shooting in an attempt to kidnap, and the community chased them. They killed some members of the community, but the community members killed all of them. The last guy, Khalid, climbed onto a tree and was firing. The community stood, they were resilient, and they killed Khalid. Since that day, there has not been one terrorist attack in Azad. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, "If we want to stop or curb this terrorism, we shall emulate the Azari example."
Time and time again, I have warned you on this very matter, but some of you never ever listened. I told our Yoruba friends that this thing you're supporting, this very evil government you're supporting, when they tagged IPOB a terrorist group, you supported them. You are going to pay a very heavy price for it. Had the Yoruba journalist stood up and said, IPOB did nothing wrong, you cannot tag them a terrorist group, believe you me, by today, you will not have Fulani people occupying Yoruba forests and farmland.
It is a shame to see the DSS of the Nigerian government, saying that Nigerian people must adhere or must adapt to what we call personal defense. But that same DSS are the one who are still holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu till this very day. The only offense Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made or committed against the Nigerian government, against the Fulani oligarchs, was because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that the Igbos, the Biafrans, must do everything to protect themselves against the Fulani herders, against the encroachers into their farmlands. You all will remember that when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, within the period of 2017 2018, initially they seek the help of the federal government under the Buhari regime. But we know how Buhari turned deaf ears. He didn't pay anyone single attention. But it was until when the Biafrans, or when the people who believed in the cause, in the movement of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that all of them must wield a weapon to defend themselves, otherwise they will be wiped out. And then we saw how his home, his businesses, everything about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was attacked, and till this very day, within a period of 5 years, he is still in the what? Captivity of the DSS. Let us listen to what this man has to say.
Speaking seriously about the practical approach to mobilizing to curb insecurity, I'll share experience with you when I was state director in Bauchi. Most of you will remember an incident in Azari. A group of terrorists, the Boko Haram, then had invaded Azari. Tafawa Balewa also happened to be a local government in Bauchi that was always in flames. And the people of Bogoro and some part of Tafawa Balewa, where the Sayawas are, rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed onto trees and mountains. And when the invaders came, they did not only repel them, they seized their weapons. And since then, you can attest to it that you hardly hear about Tafawa Balewa again. What I'm trying to say, the practical approach to mobilizing people, is that you have to get everyone involved. You do not expect the Nigerian Army, police, DSS, to protect every Nigerian or every community. It is not going to work.
I mean, listen to those words. Now, the DSS man, who of course is a Yoruba man, which is supposed to be the leader of one of the top, most sophisticated security apparatus in the country, is telling Nigerian people that we must have the capacity to defend ourselves. The police, the Nigerian army, cannot protect everybody at every time. That is the case. Why is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu still incarcerated? Why is Nnamdi Kanu still unjustly being held in the custody of the DSS? We have seen so many ways, so many reasons why Nnamdi Kanu should have been released. In fact, the DSS should cover their faces in shame. It seems he forgot that he was shooting himself on his foot. You are advising Nigerians to defend themselves. Then you have equally become a Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because the only thing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said was, the people, the problem, the challenges, and the monsters that will confront the South collectively in coming years will be the Fulani herders who are seeking for green pastures to feed their cows. They do not seek for your permission. The Nigerian government or the Nigerian state has been designed to make the Fulani man feel that this country belongs to him and he stands on top of every other person. Those words of Nnamdi Kanu to this very day still resonate deeply with me. I think if the DSS chairman can listen to this, he should go and listen to what Nnamdi Kanu did. If the security has not failed in the southeast, if the security are not failing today, 2025, I do not think the DSS chairman should have that impetus or should have any reason to come out and issue words like Nigerians should also prepare to defend themselves. But again, if they want us to defend ourselves, just as Ned Nwoko, the senator, the man who is pushing for the creation of Anioma, which will be the sixth state of the southeast, so that we can have equity amongst all the regions,